Alright, I think it's probably 4:32. We're called meeting to order. We'll start with the consent.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Paula seconds it.
There is a first and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good, the chair ayes have it, motion carries. We'll move down now into public comments. Just a 15-minute time period for citizens to appear and express their views before the Decatur Public Library. Limit of 3 minutes per speaker, total of 15 minutes. No immediate response will be given by the library trustee and or library staff. Is there anyone that would like to speak public comment, sir?
Good afternoon, everybody. I cannot understand what you guys are saying because I'm profoundly deaf. And I'm sorry, I'm not using this as an excuse. So what is your question?
Oh, public comment time. You can speak now.
You want me to
Yeah, this is your chance to make your case, Mr. Bobby, because they're aware.
make my statement?
Yes, sir. They're aware of the, and this is.
First of all,
If you'd like to, sir, you can.
I can't hear whatever you guys are saying, but I'm going to try. What is the accusation against me? I believe it's a mistake. I was accused of violent behavior. Violent behavior is not my character. I'm over 60 years old. I have diabetes and I have bladder issue. So, go to the bathroom all the time. I'm aware of the second bathroom, but the situation I'm in, I have to go to the closest one, otherwise I saw myself. And I'm very grateful to most men and women staff who have allowed me in the past. Compared to the current one I met on that very day. I wish she had empathy and understood. She will not go down there and report because I've been in a situation with a lady too. I told her, I'm sorry, I can't work anymore, I can't. And she said, let me use the bathroom for 2 to 3 minutes, and that was all. But instead of her doing the same thing, I didn't know she wasn't reported. And I was surprised. Somebody came in, one man came in. He said something, I couldn't hear him. I said, I'm sorry, even though I couldn't hear him. Then I came in the middle of people. No one approached me to tell me what was the problem. Then I woke up and I left. But I believe if there was a kind of violent situation, there is always a policeman in the kiddo. The kiddo in library here, they should have approached me, then I would have explained myself. I just could not wait. She was saying, no, and I was saying, look, I can't hold it anymore, I'm sorry. I just went in there, I never touched her. I'm sorry, my voice is a little bit loud. I never touched her, I just disregarded her and went in there. That's all I did. Violence is not my character. And I've been very nice to every member of the public library staff who have come in contact with. Never offended anybody or used any foul language. So I'm kind of surprised. So please don't suspend me because this thing is a misunderstanding. It came out of a situation whereby it's over 60 years old, have to go, he has no choice. I'm aware of the second bathroom. I just have to go, and it's not good for me to saw myself with bladder issue, with diabetes. Anybody who be in my situation will understand. But some, they did. But that very lady, I don't think she has empathy. And nothing against her. So I don't know why she made that report. Well, another did not do the same. So I don't know. Please do not suspend me. I'm not a violent person. I'm somebody who just was not able to go the urine. And I don't want to show myself in the library. So I just stayed on her and went in there. So if you have any question, ask me. I'm a diabetic. I'm somebody with bladder issue who will be in the same situation. I did not touch her. I did not abuse her. So just go in there and avoid and ignore her. Don't see her that come to a violent behavior. She was in the next restroom. I understand she is supposed to clean, but she need to have a attitude that there are some men who over 60 years old, they cannot hold the bladder. One they have to go, they have to go. Otherwise, so especially being a diabetic, please understand me. I don't understand. I wish I wasn't there on that day. Or she wasn't there. Maybe because of that staff members, they let me, when I explained to them, they let me, they walk out, both men and women. So our situation was kind of different. I was surprised. I'm not a violent person, please. I'm not. Never violent in my character.
You guys have any questions for Mr. Bobby? I will call you with their decision.
Okay. If no answer, leave a message like that. Please, I beg you. Don't suspend me.
Is there an email that he's provided?
Do you have an email?
That may be the
Yes, sir.
best means of communication with the same situation.
And I apologize that my voice may be loud sometimes, but that doesn't mean I'm angry or anything. It's just that it's part of the deadness. I apologize. People tell me, hey, it was and I apologize. Yes, they move their thought, they don't say nothing. So please don't suspect me, please. Please, I beg you. That's all I can say. But if you have any question for me, I can answer.
I'll call you and let you know the decision.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you for coming. Okay. All right, let's see, there's no other public comment. We'll move down to written communications from the public. All right, division head reports. We got a solo show today.
It's got me, yeah.
Lead us off, take us home.
I'm gonna come up with a couple ideas. So we finally implemented the new cash system, point of sale system, which we've been looking forward to for a long time. It's by the same company that put in all the new printing stations. So this is wonderful because it's easier for the patron. They don't have to pay $1, and it's all connected to our library computer system, Polaris. So that means admin people don't have to spend a lot of time piecing it all together, and we have the report, it's all in one place. And it's 2 separate cash drawers, so patrons can go to either station. So we were very excited to get it, and it was easy to adopt. It was almost anticlimactic. I figured there'd be some, because the printing thing was difficult, and I thought, cash handling, it could be difficult, but it went great. And one of my staff has already written up a little booklet and a cheat sheet, so yay.
Something like right.
Yes, I know, let's take the win, right? Let's see, I am working with Alexis, she's our teen librarian, on a couple of projects. One, I'm not that familiar with manga and graphic novels as far as all the, little differences, but she is. So we're working on some new combinations, like manga is a section, comic is a section, graphic novel is a section. So we really need that because nobody else really understands all the ins and outs of that.
Oh, and they're big.
Oh, yeah.
My kids
Yeah.
have spent so much money on them.
Yeah. So we're working on that together, and then the other thing we're doing together, and she deserves a lot of credit, we have been trying for years finally got somebody, and they love the idea. So we're gonna now do what we've been wanting to do, which is insert one of our sheets about how to get a card, right in there with their registration materials, and then, you know, we'll bring you the card. We'll, you know, we'll do whatever, so that's huge.
You guys were at the summer pickup, voucher pickup, and like, I think were you signing people up for cards?
What now?
The summer voucher pickup for Decatur Public Schools?
I don't know what that is. Summer voucher pickup?
Yeah, like it was a school district thing, John was there, Alex was there.
Oh, yeah, we had, yeah, I didn't know that's what it's called. We had somebody
I
there.
don't know what it was called.
Yeah, Lisa was
That's what
there.
it was for.
That was at MacArthur?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Lisa was there,
yeah.
doing stuff, yeah.
So did we sign card people?
Yeah. I think it was really busy for summer sign up and not as much for new cards, but you just never know.
Yeah.
But in the fall, you know, every kid will take a piece of information home with all this other stuff they have to do. And hopefully we'll get, you know, a lot more elementary and probably junior high students, maybe some high school.
And maybe some parents will come and get their cards
And
too.
it's a big win to get somebody to agree to it, so.
That's awesome.
Got a small local history project going. It's been ages since we shelf read and made sure all the books are there and have the right phone numbers, so we're going like fine tooth comb, get that sorted out. So, those fun little library tasks.
It always takes longer than.
Yeah,
people
it's just,
just
you
get
gotta,
it.
just gotta keep, it's like housework. You
Yeah.
just gotta keep churning it, so. Any questions?
Those sound good.
Fantastic, we appreciate you holding down the
Thanks,
fort.
no problem, thank you. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, Supervisor report.
First thing I wanted to say is that the statistics are incomplete, so there's just what I have right now. So I'll get the rest, because Melissa was out all week last week unexpectedly, and has been, you know, working diligently to try to get caught up, but is not caught up yet. I'll have complete statistics for you for March next month. I want to touch on one thing that, you know, I put in my, well, actually two things in the part about administration here. You know, I often like highlight some meetings I have. This is in addition to my over 50 meetings that are scheduled every single month. Also, let you guys know that, because you may not know, it's about 2,300 emails a month. So, you know, that's, we were talking about, there was a burnout survey that we did with staff, and we were talking about ways to mitigate burnout because our score wasn't too good. And we talked about ourselves too in the division meeting, and for me, I got to figure out a way to have fewer meetings. That's what I've got to figure out. That's the main, and not be so email responsive. I want to, about the 6th or 7th bullet point there, on the 20th I met with representatives from City Blue to work through some issues. City Blue is our contractor for printing our copiers, and they manage our desktop printers too. We signed an agreement with them a year ago, and the proposal was this. So these are inkjet printers. This is not toner. And their proposal was this. Here's a price. We can get you all, and we can deliver on the day we install these machines, we can give you all the ink you're going to need for the duration of the contract, 63 months, 5 years and 3 months. I think we first started running out of ink in June of last year. We've run out a few more times, and they comped it to us. Now they're asking to charge us for it. And we did have an understanding that if for some reason it's not enough ink, we would have to purchase any ink from them. Well, right at a year now is a whole lot different than 63 months. Here's what they're telling me. We based it on a 5% color coverage rate. It's nowhere in any of the paperwork. I showed them that. They seemed legitimately, look, they're all related, it's a family business, and the brother-in-law who's president seemed pretty PO'd at the brother-in-law who's the sales rep. But now they want to like
Start
give
that
us,
drama, right?
yes, but now they want to give us a second proposal that would, although still be way cheaper than Watts was, it would, over the course of the rest of the contract, be about $10,000 more over the next 4 years than what we had agreed to. And while I think it was an honest mistake, because he had just gotten out of cancer surgery, and the other sales rep that we were meeting with was 1 week out of the Marine Corps.
Is that a son too?
Yes, and they're all Marines, and they're all related. And I said I'd listen to them, but the more I think about it, the more I think, yes, maybe you made an honest mistake, but it's a big one, and it's not our fault. And I've sent all the materials to Jordan to take a look at to see what legal. I mean, $10,000, not an insignificant amount of money, even if spread out over 4 years. And part of the reason, the other big selling point for them is we don't have to run out of ink. We don't have to be ordering toner and all that stuff. So that's where I am with that. Just as an FYI, I'm not asking for a decision yet. We'll see what Jordan says, but my sense is, I think they either need to make good on their proposal or let us out of it. Although letting us out of it would be pretty problematic.
So you said they base it on 5%.
Color coverage, like this would probably be about 5% color.
What are we averaging, do we know?
I've got it somewhere, but he said it's closer to 25% with 30.
Do we have to do
Sometimes.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, for promotional materials and such like this,
Okay.
this doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be.
I don't know what we're all
But-
using the printers for, so I was just curious.
No, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and
Like for me to print color at work, it's actually,
so we could make an effort. We did, well, Matt likes to set everything up for default black and white, but everybody kind of switched their default to color, as far as my
when
understanding.
you think about the 150th materials, like, there are flyers, there are there's like a pamphlet, and then there's flyers.
We
and
gave
there's-
them all of our printing information
Yeah.
over the last few years whenever they did this. I don't know how much, but see, Watts didn't do it on percentage. Watts gave you one price for black and white, because you got so many free images every month, and then after that, you got one price for every black and white and one price for every color. This was the color price, and it was like 10 times what the black and white price was. So we didn't have a percentage. We didn't have any percentage numbers. All we had was color versus black and white. But we shared with them all of our information for years. They didn't ask the right questions, apparently. And again, I like him. He's a nice. I really think he screwed up. I don't think he's trying to rip us off. But then as I told him, I also got to look out for the taxpayer. The taxpayer dollars. So.
When they looked at the last few years, was our color at around 20 to 25%?
Well, it wasn't, so the 5% isn't 5% of it's 5% coverage on the sheet. So this would be roughly about 5%.
Right, but
We
you said
didn't-
we're averaging 20 to 25% right now.
Right, but what we didn't have in the old system, we didn't track that.
We didn't
All we
track
did
it.
was either it's black and white or it's color. We didn't track how much of the page was color. So he didn't have that information to hand, but he didn't ask us about it. He didn't say, there wasn't a conversation. I mean, we asked so many times. So you're going to give us all the ink we need for, and it's in there, and the contract. The contract is silent about it, and there was an addendum, which he said should have had a 5%, but it did not. Thank you.
So is it
So,
safe to say
yes.
we're probably printing more in color because of the 150th than we will in a normal year?
I think probably, but I don't know that it's a huge difference. So if what you're driving at will next year be a little better, probably will, I think, but I can't guarantee that. Because again, we never tracked how much of the page was covered in color, because we had a color price and a black and white price. All we knew was how many pages were in color and how many pages were black and white.
I just don't think it's fair to charge more for one heavier year out of the 63 months.
Yeah, so what they're charging us for is the ink that we're running out of. They said, so they gave us enough ink that if it was 5%, we didn't know that. We don't recall that ever being in conversation, and it's not in any of the written.
And that's only color.
5% color. No, yes. So
Have you ran out of black and white?
we've run out. That is a question for Matt. I don't know exactly what colors that we've got to replace.
I say contract's contract.
I'd
I'd say they're kind of you gotta bite the bullet, you're the ones that messed up, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm leaning to. It's, again, they're nice. They're a nice bunch
When
of
our
guys.
contract's up, we'll talk again. Sorry, messed up.
And I'm sure you'll correct the mistake.
Where
Never
is
do
this?
again.
Here.
It's a-
On Wood Street.
This is Decatur.
No, this is City Blue. It's not Decatur Blue.
Oh,
City
that's
Blue.
what I thought you were talking
City
about.
Blue is out of City Blue is out of Peoria.
Oh, screw that. I thought it was,
Hopefully they don't read our minutes.
It's,
So here's what I would say is I feel for them. I do think a contract's a contract. They did mess up. Maybe there's a way that we can make a little bit of a compromise, but we're not
Like
paying
we'll pay
the
for ink
full
once a year.
amount.
well, that's what he's working on a compromise proposal. I can bring that to you guys.
I would be willing
But
to hear a compromise proposal,
Yeah.
but I am not willing to pay the 10,000.
Well, in our conversation, what that compromise proposal will add up to is a $10,000 difference over 4 years.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we already know that now.
But it would be, if we were at this rate, continuing to buy ink, I've got $2,000 worth of ink invoices sitting on my desk, and he says, if you sign this agreement, you won't have to pay those. And I'm thinking, I really shouldn't have to pay them anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he use that link?
Well, I would like to hear what the lawyer says.
Yeah,
I'd like to
that's-
see their proposal and then we can talk about it.
I would like to see like how much of an increase this is overall. Like if we were buying ink at the rate we're using it now, would we pay 100,000? Is 10,000 a great deal for us? Like what
Well, it's still,
increase are we going to
so
do?
that additional 10,000 would still be cheaper than we were paying once on our old contract. It still is a savings over that. So it's less than we were paying a year ago before we signed with City Blue, but more than City Blue told us that we were going to pay them.
Which I feel like there's gotta be somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, so, but if we keep buying ink at this rate, it'll be, it would be about probably 6,000 a year, so for the next 4 years, it's about 20,000. So, but I guess where I am is we shouldn't have to be buying anything at all.
Yes.
Because they told us, here's how many pages you have, 1 million and blah, blah, blah. We're gonna give you enough ink for 1 million blah, blah, blah pages, right? And it doesn't then say, based on a 5% color code. It just says, that many pages.
So I think we need just our lawyer.
Give you any information on Jordan behind the decision?
I sent it to him yesterday, and his response was, managing printing is the worst part of managing a small business, and I will take a look at this and get you a response.
Other side, do you have an idea or timetable when this compromise offer is supposed to be coming approved?
I would think very soon.
Is this conversation transpired then?
About a week ago.
On the 20th.
March 20th.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hopefully it'll be in the next 2 weeks.
Well, no, there'd been another conversation since
Yeah.
then. That was the conversation where they were discovering they didn't put 5% in any of the documents. And then he said, well, the president of the company said, well, did you talk about it? And I'm like, I can't sit here and tell you that a year ago I remember the conversation exactly, but I do remember Matt and I repeatedly saying, really? You're just gonna give us all the ink and we'll have enough?
Sounded amazing.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I
Sounded
remember,
too good to be true.
Yeah.
you know, being very enthused by the deal that we were receiving in comparison to our last Watts contract.
Yeah, and the other, you know, there's a slight downturn in quality, because the colors are not as vibrant with the
They
inkjet.
are not, now that you say that.
Colors are not as vibrant with the inkjet as they are with the traditional toner.
I was just
What?
looking at this.
Okay, well, I can't
Sure.
compare that. I can't compare that.
So, you know, but you know, at the savings we were looking at and what we thought was the added convenience, you know, of not, you know, of having it all here, we thought it was worth it, so.
And just redundancy, but to clarify, this is including our internal marketing materials that we printed as well.
Yes.
Where the colors become more in play than our logo.
Absolutely, correct, yes.
All right, well, one, I'd say assume hope that comes within 2 weeks. Obviously, this is a finance item, it had to be voted to finance committee. If not, it's going to be pushed back.
I
very
just
much.
wanted to have.
Not that we can communicate that to them, but obviously.
I wanted to put it on your radar, so.
Yes, thank you for that. Is there anything else, library report wise?
And I'm happy to answer any questions, but.
Questions? Seeing none, we will move on forward down to reports of committees, PPR.
So we met on Monday early this week, sorry. That's earlier. So we talked on the software use policy. There were a few policies we sent to the full board, which we're going to vote on today. I would like to make a motion for the software use policy is the first one that we're going to do. There were no changes to this, so I will make the motion.
I was second.
Any discussion or questions?
And that was Samantha.
Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, any chairs, ayes have it, motion carries.
The second is the local history use of room policy. I should say the software use policy was reviewed by Matt and no other changes. The local history use of room policy, Becky reviewed it, there were no changes.
Actually, the whole staff had a chance to.
Yeah, right, but like, I mean, this, they're the head of the department, so I would expect them to bring up any changes like why. And then the other, things can comment. So I would like to make a motion to accept this policy as written.
Shire, a second.
The first and there's a second, any discussion?
Nope.
Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, chair, ayes have it, motion carries.
The last one is the same thing, the local history collection policy. I would like to make a motion to accept it as presented.
Blake would like a second.
Here we go. First and second, any discussion?
Yeah, but I'll ask Becky about this. This is something from, an archivist and everything. In her reappraisal and deed session, I think she may need a third option of actual disposal. Because the only way you can deed session in the current policy is if you return it to the donor or find an appropriate institution. And maybe she's cleaned out the collections enough, but every once in a while you just find something. You don't know where the donor is, nobody else wants it, what do you do with it? And so, but we can always come back to that. So if we want to go ahead and pass this, we can always come back.
It's up to you.
I can talk to Becky about that and see if she thinks
I mean,
it's
do we want
necessary.
You can always table it too.
Yeah, we can always table it.
Let's table it.
It's easier than bringing it back. I think.
Okay, yeah, why don't we just do that? And I'll check with Becky and see.
We'll table it and add that to the tabling.
Would you like to make a motion? Paul?
Oh, yes, I would like to make a motion to table it.
Samantha, a second.
Oh.
And a second, any discussion?
All right.
We are voting on tabling this motion for clarification.
Yep.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Any other chair, ayes have it, motion carries, or motion is tabled, I should say.
Good job, Paula.
Congratulations.
That's way too long a motion.
No, was it done?
Yes.
Oh, well, We are done with it apparently, but I haven't reviewed, I didn't realize he was done. So we are working on the actual written copy of the evaluation, but I misunderstood your message, so I'm sorry about that. So, it's coming.
Just wait a little bit longer.
Expect some form of action item next month.
Yes. And then there was no other. I don't think, right?
All right, that makes sense. We've got into finance and properties.
So capital needs discussion, and furniture project are kind of the same, but I was just talking to Rick about the garbage that's up there, because we are having
Still
an
there?
opening.
Yeah.
Yes, it's still there. Supposedly, it's supposed to disappear before our opening. They will not be able to put the louvers back on.
What?
Probably not, but it's possible. The date has been pushed back. It was supposed to be the 21st where the cooling system was operating, but it looks like they're pushing it back 1 week. So, to recap, for the
Cancel the reopening.
for the grand,
Yeah, we've already printed it.
for the grand
I've already
reopening, we won't have
RSVP'd.
the desks, and it's going to be hot as. So, good fundraising opportunity.
Is that what we're calling it? As we reopen, we always go to our GoFundMe.
She'll be really good in that reception.
Exactly.
This is what
You
they
would
call
like
it when
this
they-
trash.
And then the other, obviously, we are not getting our desks in time. The
That
reference desks.
most
will not be
frustrating.
here for,
We will go forward with the demo tomorrow of the current desks. And they are coming on Monday to do some of the fixes that we've been doing, like getting that credenza back in the nook over by the circuit. And a couple of the things that aren't really all that even visible to the public, but, lock cords and desk drawers and things like that. But yeah, it's frustrating. It's about the laminate wrap. They had the order in last summer. They had the finalized art in the fall. It was supposed to be done in December. So we thought, late April was pretty safe, but here we are.
July is always a beautiful hot month. Just kidding.
Should have the children's
I feel like the general
section, they
public.
can just draw us a bunch of desks and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
put some puzzles up in their place.
I think that maybe I think actually some renderings of what the desks are going to look like, on the easel,
Yeah,
whatever,
would be-
is something. And
it probably is something better than
and
just
most
leaving it blank.
most
Yeah.
pieces are here. Most things are here. I mean, most of this project is done. It's installed. It's finished.
Those are big.
Those are centerpieces.
They're
Those are kind of the centerpieces.
Well, there are, you walk in to see it.
Right.
The rest of the stuff is behind it.
So, I woke
Yeah.
up this morning dreaming about the embarrassing speech I'll be giving.
Yeah, there's some renderings and we just have a snipe at the top says, coming.
Yeah, where will we be setting speaking engagement up at? What that your considerations are?
For the ribbon cutting, I'm not sure yet. It would have been great by the desk, but. We could call it the grand, we could start calling it the grand pre-opening.
Ooh, it's starting to feel like Bob's Burgers.
Oh,
You know how
it's the
re-reopening.
That's right.
2 letters sign on top of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that a little bit after.
Well, we can just approach it with a big sense of humor and make some jokes about it and.
Welcome to my life, Paul.
Yeah. And,
I've learned I have to approach everything that way.
and then just tell people, you know what? Watch for the updates because we're gonna have a grand
Come back.
reopening.
Yeah,
in
this
a
is-
month.
This is the roping in. You didn't have to come back.
Come back for part 2.
Well, I like that roping in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna cutting, so ribbon in.
And the reason there's a gap between the ribbon cutting and the reception is we wanted to do the reception after hours because we will be fundraising. And, we wanted it to be an invite only, but the mayor couldn't make it big. So we moved the ribbon cutting to accommodate her schedule.
I wondered about that because
That's what, it's what Chamber of Commerce and the mayor want, and they're handling it for us, so.
Because that's what she said, so I'm assuming maybe she has to do it for that.
Yeah, could be, I don't know.
What is on the agenda for the grand reopening? What's the plan?
So I had it, I shared that with my, I can grab that agenda
Just
real
high level,
quick if you've
just
got
high
it.
level. Is
So-
everybody?
So for the grant, not the,
I will be here for the 6 p.m., not the 2 p.m.
The 25, right?
so we're gonna have food,
Yes.
we're gonna have tours, we're gonna have a silent auction of a old furniture piece.
I already bought my stools.
I wondered.
One of the lounge chairs, we are gonna have a lounge chair.
I sent her a picture.
Oh, it is a kid fair weekend.
So, what else are we doing? We're hoping to have paw prints for this program. We work with the launch, kind of show folks the reading
Yes.
dogs.
A little puppy.
Snacks, there will be snacks, there will be tours.
Summer-
Summer marks by,
Yeah, Carl.
there will be mocktails. We were gonna get drinks and we just couldn't pull off the licensure of the last.
All good.
Yeah, I was like, get people drunk, they're like, oh, more money.
Here, take my checkbook.
Well, they're invited.
I know that, but like, are they gonna have the shop open?
Yes.
Yeah, Tony said he will open the shop, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the Friends Bookstore will
Oh
go.
gosh, now I gotta shop before they come.
Yeah.
Ah, the puzzles.
I know.
I just got Tony's 34 box.
Yeah, so I'll do a little, little money ask, and, so, because we're not done yet, we'll be telling what, other things we've done, like display stuff that and signage that wasn't part of this project, and
Exciting.
I am very sweet. Yeah, just tell people we got so excited we set up a,
good money in all.
yeah, we're already in.
Well, I mean, at some point you just gotta.
You gotta do it within 2025.
I like those Bob's Burgers things, so.
Yeah.
Yes!
If you need ribbon, well, caution tape, all of that, I got you.
Oh yeah, maybe we should have caution too.
I've got a lot of power with Mr. Belcher, so.
Maybe the rendering could be in the style.
Yes. I'm sure we have our teas. I need a Tina. Mid-twerk.
All right.
Okay, so next is the check registry and vendor report. We reviewed it as a committee and we would like to present it to be accepted. So I'm gonna say,
Blake will motion to accept the March 25 check register and vendor reports.
First, is there a second?
Emily will second.
There is a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
We can't
Oh, yes,
have to
you are
go.
correct. What's opposite down the table?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
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 I
aye.
Fantastic. 8-0, motion carries.
Okay, so budget actuals.
Yeah.
Let's go, let's hear it.
So, look at the actuals, I want to point out a few things. Look at personnel expenses, so we're 25% of the way through the year. Look at personnel expenses, you see 26.5. That is not cause for concern, because we've had one of our 2-3 paycheck months. We're right where we need to be on that. As a matter of fact, in expenses overall, we're in pretty good shape. I do want to point out that the security costs have been adjusted, so we're back to splitting 50-50 with the city of Decatur.
And 305, is that, how much is that, like, of the state, like, is it the PPRT or?
Well, that's every source of revenue besides property taxes lumped together.
Right.
But I'll get, when we get into the projection, I'll get a little more detail. But cash, let's get down to cash position. We have in our operating fund $575,296.03. Capital fund cash position is $200,000 and change. Cantoni, 6,500, Meyer, 33,500, memorials and donations, 7,000, and total cash position of $822,059.98. I am a little concerned about the cash position on the operating account. We've had a bit of a perfect storm here. Well, it's not just operating, but it's the overall cash position. Let's talk about that. What is the perfect storm? One, the personal property replacement tax is coming in way under budget again. Two, so remember we took the per capita grant money and we decided let's spend it by depositing it all in Hoopla as a drawdown. So that's, we can pay Hoopla in advance, and then as people check out, that is, so we did do it.
We did,
Yeah, we were going to do it at the end of last year,
that's
but we did it early this year. So we've spent that, but we haven't gotten the cash yet. So my colleagues are getting their money. We, as of a couple of days ago, we still haven't received ours. 104,000 something. Yeah. So our collection on PPRT is really low. We spent our per capita money in advance, which makes a lot of sense in most ways than in any other year. But the other thing is we're drawing our cash position down is we're nearing the end of the furniture project. We knew we were going to spend that money, but that has kind of also kept us, the large amount of money there has kind of kept us afloat. I am a little concerned, dropped a little, I am concerned that we will be cash poor come about June. So,
property tax.
July.
Yeah, maybe we won't start getting it.
Yeah. So, if the per capita money comes in soon, then I'll mitigate this somewhat and I'll readjust and I'll see. But right now I'm concerned we're going to scrape the bottom of the barrel. In the past, when that has happened, and it hasn't happened in 11 years, the city has given us what's called a bridge loan. It's an interest-free, they just cover for us until our money comes in, so that we can make payroll and pay our bills and stuff. But they haven't had to do that in a long time. That was a different CFO. So I'm going to request a meeting with Ms. James. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to sit down and talk to her and say, here's what it looks like it might happen.
When do we have to make that call by? Do you know? Like, when will you know per capita money's coming in and we'll do that?
Well, there was chatter on the listservs like last week that some libraries were getting their per capita money. But as of 2 days ago, I didn't check today, ours hadn't come in yet. If it comes in, it's never been very predictable. It's come as late as August and as early as April. So state funds are, PPRT is state funds too. They're just not as predictable.
And is that guaranteed?
Do I per capita? Yeah, we got our award letter. So, yeah.
It seems like worst case scenario, the city just covers for a little bit. It's not like this, unless the city completely, they would not cover a public service.
I think it's unlikely, but I think it's a conversation we still need to have.
Yeah.
It could be above board and say,
Do you have any idea what the shortfall might look like at this point?
I think we could get down to, by the end of June, $0 in that fund. So, after we pay, pay everything, I think we could get down to it. So, but I don't know that it would get us quite, well, yes, it would get us into a negative position. Let me work that out, and I was really hoping to have some good news on the per capita grant. And
I was just kind of wondering how much we would have to ask the city to cover for us.
It's gonna be, I would say, under $100,000. I would think less than 100,000.
Maybe that'll incentivize them to turn and address their property taxes.
Yes, the city and the county definitely love to work
That's
confidently all the time.
They don't care.
If anything, it'd be the opposite, that it'd be, well, no, that's retroactive. We'd be capturing the growth that we were not able to capture the last hits, but obviously things have changed economically, so, yeah, it should be good.
So as I look at the projections, you want to talk about projection then? So, you know, the projection, it's not pretty because, you know, it's looking like that we'll collect about 350,000 in PPRT. That's about a $700,000 swing since 2022. And although real estate taxes have gone, we collect more, the net loss,
$2,000 since then.
the net loss for the library since 2022 is about $680,000. So if you look at our allocations, I'm talking about things that we can't control. If you look at our allocations, that's the cost that the city basically charges us for the services that they provide us. So, our health insurance, and our, you know, the PPRT going almost in a straight line down. That is a $680,000-ish difference over 3 years. When you talk about a $4 million budget, that's a lot of money. So it's something that will have to be addressed. On the good news, we had a very, I think, productive meeting and conversation with future City Councilwoman Consuelo Cruz this afternoon. Plan to continue to have scheduled one-on-one meetings with myself, a board member or two, and individual members of the City Council.
The good news is she's a library user.
She's a library user.
And she understands the importance of the library.
Yeah, and understands the importance of having teens in the library and, you know, what that means for the future of Decatur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was the only candidate that specifically talked about libraries and how.
It was a pleasure meeting with her. She said we should have these conversations monthly. So.
You're like, I can't add another meeting.
Hold on.
I'll
We finagle some
work
things.
that one in. Yes, I'll work that one in.
That's right, you just said you were gonna have to cut down 50 meetings, 62. Yeah,
Not hers.
those are.
So it's I mean, there's places we can cut, but not a lot. I mean, you know, I just think we don't send it. I mean, ALA, the American Library Association conference is in Philadelphia this year. I think we don't send anybody. We can. There's a couple other spots I thought. Well, you know, we're looking at a hold locker. We can forego that. That's, you know, 20 grand. I mean.
A little bit here.
We can shave here and there and show, you know, I think if for no other reason to show that we're not being profligate, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. And I'll keep you posted and we'll keep working on it.
Well, that's it for our committee.
Or got lost.
Yeah, I was looking at papers, you know, what you just want to say.
There's a lot of things.
All right, that was the entirety of finance properties. Any questions, comments, concerns? Moving down, foundation, which did not meet. Is there anything you could add to that?
Is there a way to, like, will there be like a QR code or something?
We're working on it. Yeah.
Okay. For the vetting.
Friends of the library meeting.
Actually, you were there.
I
mean,
was
you could give
there.
that report if you
Sorry,
like.
you have your thumb here.
I don't have my notes, but some of the things that I was remembering. They have some T-shirts that like they're getting for their board, but they offered them up to like our board as well, like anybody that's a friend of the library.
I already requested one.
I know, and I already put mine in. So I also have, if you're not a Friends member, are you friends? This is the membership form. That's what I was telling you to bring.
I'm glad.
You're already in? Okay. We're just gonna write on the back of one of these pieces of paper. I'll just take your sizes. They're unisex t-shirts, $16. 16.
I was talking about just the monthly subscription.
Oh, yeah, it's very,
Annually subscription.
the membership is very cheap. It's $15 for a single person, $25 for a family. You get like a certificate to their sales. I think it's really good. We're all members, like we're supporters.
They support us.
They support us, so we should support them. And you could take your check or whatever down, or cash down to their, like they're having their sale right now, like after our board meeting's over. So, I don't remember anything else from that.
They approved funding request.
Okay, well, I wasn't there for this.
Yeah.
So you approved all the funding requests,
Yeah, set up a couple of team programs and
I don't remember here. I have my notes and I don't have it with me, so.
oh, that was a big one. That was for the
Mad
Mad Cap puppets for children.
Mad Cap
That's like $6,000.
For summer reading.
Yeah.
So, and that should be really fun. So there's Friends of the Library. No, I don't know, it's like we were gonna write down,
I didn't know that, I missed that, we'll do it afterwards.
you wanna write down your t-shirt size. I'll get that to them. Okay. So, we did talk a little bit about the IMLS, that there wasn't really like a lot of action on that. Oh, there we go. See? Alex is running for the board.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure, is that been certified or anything? The election was over, I believe. Did she?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Because I've already voted
For
for
what board?
What board?
it.
The IHLS board. I did not re-up my, so,
Good for Alex.
yeah, so I hope she won.
Alex, the librarian here?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And then, like, right now, we're just doing the director evaluation, so, basically it. Thank you.
Everyone got their t-shirt size on this list that wanted
Yeah.
to do so.
What is it exactly?
It's a t-shirt for the Friends of the Library. It's blue. It's like a really pretty colored blue, and it's got the logo, and then it says like Friends of the Library on the back.
So we need to include money with that, with our membership?
You can if you want to, yeah.
How much is it?
It's $16.
What if I don't have $16 for February next meeting?
I haven't paid them yet, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wonder if they'll charge me.
Tony knows where.
Take it down.
I know.
So can I put my membership dues plus my t-shirt on one check?
Do that, yes.
Do you do
Is
mine?
it gonna make it
Is somebody going down there?
I am good.
I think we might kind of get a passion there.
Yes.
Limbo.
I'm sorry, that's very distracting.
So here's what I will say is that whenever you ask, I always join, and I'm forgetting to join, so
Yeah.
maybe we can add like a once a year
We asked that's one thing they were talking
on
about
our
is,
schedule. Once
Yeah.
a year, like, hey, we guys join the Friends of the Library.
I think that's a good point for whoever's like
Yeah.
doing it, because they mentioned that their membership was down from last year, but it's the people that were members this year were members like previous year. They weren't the one, not from last year, but like the year before. So it's just kind of interesting, like their membership.
I think they always
And
send out a reminder though.
They did at the beginning of the year, like, or like in December or something, but they haven't sent one out since. And so that, I think that was an ask. Because I mentioned I've only got one, and then I just remembered at some point to
I haven't gotten one for a long time, but.
yeah, I think we sent it out by email.
I don't-
But they only sent it probably to the current. So,
Anyway, no, I just mean, we should put it on our agenda.
yes.
Not theirs, but yeah.
Yep.
Just so like, January 1st, like, January
Yeah.
meeting, like, add that to our agenda. Anybody, we can bring in things.
July
a
first.
regular thing on the,
Yeah, on the January board meeting, and just actually hand out, yeah, the forms.
Fantastic. Anything else Heartland wise? Check your emails, guys. All the fun national days. The business. Anything else that we'd like to do there?
I do.
Please.
So the 150th anniversary stuff that we have going on this year. So number one is the new beer, is the strawberries and cream at Decatur Brewer.
You guys, people are obsessed with this beer.
I'm very excited.
I have not had it yet, but people are
It's
loving
a fruit
it.
beer.
I don't think the cups are there yet. They
I didn't
sh-
see them the other day.
They weren't there on Tuesday
These
for
new cups?
The new
sure.
cups.
Yes, there's gonna be a new
It's
cup
Carnegie
with
Library. Is the
all
next,
of the
volume
beers.
2.
Oh my god, like we're
I
gonna
didn't
go
know
broke.
that.
You're a dollar.
I know. On Tuesday, Alex's
Bye-bye.
shipping confirmation was saying that they should have been here today or tomorrow.
So basically, when I go next week, I
Yeah.
can get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
As long as supply lasts.
It's true.
Could be.
well,
like-
we got the one last time.
Oh, I think she could handle
So the next thing is the color run. It was super fun.
Yes.
It was very fun.
It was like, so Paula and Ashley, thank you guys for volunteering. 'Cause,
It was fun.
They were shooting people with color.
I didn't get to shoot
They
any
are,
off.
like, he
And
shot me in
myself.
the neck. I was like, they have these like cannons of color and like the lids pop off. And so
Yeah.
like, we learned kind of,
Yeah, there was the learning curve too.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Learn
it
to aim these
was super
suckers.
fun, like my daughter and her friend were like dumping color on each other. It's in her hair still. Like it was super fun. They had 91 runners. And like for our first one, there was like 20 volunteers, including a couple board members, and it was just super fun. The next event is ridiculous, May 3rd, and so.
This is ridiculous to greatest hits.
Ridiculous.
They're doing,
Elephant baby.
they're doing all their favorites over the, 12 or 13 years they've been doing this. And it's an hour show. They've never done an hour show before.
Have to
Yeah,
hot
great.
tea and honey ready for them. She lost her voice out there last time.
Yeah, so that was exciting. So that's the 150th update.
One's a little moody though.
Comment question on that. I'm asking participants as opposed to Alex, because that may vary. Is this something that we think we may want to do annually outside of the 150th? Or just being
There were requests.
There were a lot of people asking if we were gonna do this.
We want to get through it, and our response was, well, let's get through this year.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Next year's
That's
color
crazy.
run.
Yeah, tentatively, we were thinking maybe like as a kickoff to like the summer reading
Yeah.
program.
And I mean, it was $10 this time, and so we could charge a little bit more to cover.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
$10 was
It's
pretty
low.
cheap
It's
for
pretty low in my.
everything that came in the bags.
And the sooner that we have that plan, and I feel like the more that we can hit the quote unquote, the running community indicator, obviously
I think this
ALC
color
walk.
runs are more, like a family fun event
Yeah, they're
than
more
a,
like
than a
fun.
runner
Little kids.
event.
That.
Yeah,
Oh, the kids were eating it up.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, runners might do it, but it's more family.
The interesting thing I saw is that a lot of the people that were there were library users and like library supporters. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like people that come
Yeah.
to the events that I go to were also there. So with their kids.
That's good though.
So,
Every single other time,
Fantastic. And then the next event would be also the grand reopening.
Yes.
You all know about, which
Grand
we all be over
reopening,
here.
The
Grand pre-opening.
Pre-opening,
Yes.
yes.
I did not officially RSVP yet, but I will.
Neither have I, and I'm gonna be there.
I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I don't have to.
RSVP for me?
I know,
I lost
need
it.
to- I just found it yesterday.
it is all front center of my refrigerator.
It is
Oh my god.
Mine's on the refrigerator as well. I looked at it.
It's
I
got
don't
wedding
know.
invitation.
Mine
I
has
don't
a
know.
My
It's
toddler will take it. My toddler takes it.
The reopen, the invitation for
Oh,
the.
okay.
I am not really good.
The wedding invitation.
It's gonna be
I
like.
can't let it happen.
I got one of those earlier with no flyer,
Something
just a
with
text
it on
message
my
with like 30
computer.
people in the group, just save the date. Didn't say what the date was, no flyer, just save the date. So there's a wedding. Someone's not gonna say anything. All right, we'll move on. We do have 2 more action items we have to take care of. Go down into new business. First, the resolution to transfer funds. You may or not remember we have about $36,000 of funds that have been invested on behalf of the library that are currently in the Illinois Treasurer State Coffers, if I'm correct in that. We have to formally vote to move those funds to our, which fund exactly?
Capital Reserve Fund to help fund the furniture.
So is that empty it out?
No, there's still a couple thousand left in there, and that's where all of our point of sale stuff goes in here. So, it'll start growing again.
I make a motion to transfer the $35,000 to our capital reserve fund.
First,
Emily will second.
there is a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, is this one that we?
Money,
Yeah, it's an individual, so got my cross me, brother.
Aye. Paula, aye.
Actually, I.
I,
Aye.
Amanda, aye.
Sophie?
Aye.
Shiloh?
Shiloh, aye.
9 ayes, 0 nays, motion carries. We'll move down now to patron suspension appeal. Obviously, I have some questions pertaining to this. I read our, oh, yes.
Were you guys able to view the video also?
Yes.
That,
That was your.
I did not.
So I did talk to Mr. Bobby the next day, and heard much the same as what you heard today. And what my response was, I agree with you up until the point where you put your hands on it. He did not deny that he did that day. The next day when we spoke on the phone, and we were able to speak on the phone, he said he must not have heard me correctly. He didn't touch me. So, Stephanie, the housekeeping person, about a week later, she was upset that none of us called the police. And well, nobody witnessed it but you. And you could. It's not too late to call the police if he pushed you. That is assault, and you can call the police. And she said she was, so again, she's a civic center employee, not a library employee. She said she was going to talk to her boss. Her boss said, of course you can call the police. And, I saw her the next day, and she said she decided not to. She decided against it. So,
I hope they did offer her services, for the assault. Yeah, PTSD, yeah, services. But that's the civic centers.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but again, and Mr. Bobby's right. We've never had this kind of problem with him before. He comes in here daily. He can be a little prickly sometimes, but he's never done anything like this before. I also told him I agree. She should have let you go to the bathroom. To me, that's
almost
a big mistake.
Emergency.
Yeah, it's a big mistake.
Well, it's just
It's and I said again, sir, I agree with everything you're saying up until the point that you put your hands on her, but which he is not saying that he did not. So he said he misheard me when we had that conversation, and wanted me to reconsider it at that time. And I said, I think at this point I'm gonna kick it up to the board.
So I read the report. I did not see the video though. Is there conclusive?
It was happened in the bathroom. But what you do see is right afterwards she comes out and
Sets her stuff down and walks swiftly.
and she's showing. She called. She got on the
Closer to the
radio.
end.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did see that.
She's showing. She's kind of
showing
This is what happened.
Alexis like this, like she's demonstrating like what happened, and there's no sound, so it's more of a like interpreting what happened. And then like he comes out and he just like walks away, and it did mention hard of hearing, and it sounded like Alexis was having a hard time like getting his attention, like to communicate to him. So I wonder if that maybe contributed to it.
Reading the report, did it say Dalton was also there trying to communicate with
He
us?
was on the radio.
She called Stephanie. Stephanie called for Dalton, and Stephanie's fairly new. He's right about that. And Mr. Bobby knows us all, and he said he was telling me she just needs more training, and I'm like, again, I I 100% agree with you, but that doesn't make it okay to push her. And that's where we part ways. Were you able to find the video?
Yes.
I guess my question is, we're never gonna know what happened, for sure.
Correct.
So I guess I go down to the black and white on the facts, so it's a year ban. Is that standard, is that been issued before? What's the protocol on?
There's never been violence against staff.
Okay.
In my 11 years, so.
Which is kind of shocking to me, but love to
It
hear
is, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's where, and because, and I hemmed and hawed for a bit because we didn't see it, and I mean, all due respect to Stephanie, I don't know her. I know Mr. Bowdy more than I know Stephanie, but, you know, she seemed genuinely upset, and I also talked to her boss about retraining. Why are we closing down the men's room at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? That seems.
Well, or like put it at least,
Well,
I
and
mean,
it's happened, like,
I've gone to Kroger before and been like, listen, I need to use the bathroom right now. And they're like, okay, let me step out.
Yeah, or at least
Right,
let them
Or be
know.
like, hey, here's where the other restroom is.
But
But
she
I do
mentioned
think
that is typically what happens.
Yeah.
If they are cleaning while he goes in there, they typically
He
just
just-
step out for a minute, let
Yeah.
him do what he needs to do, and then they resume.
Yeah, and I do think maybe the hard of hearing has contributed to the situation as well. So
Yeah.
again, it sucks, the whole situation
so,
sucks.
I mean, the thing is that we just don't really know what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, was she like standing between him and having to go and
I
saying,
mean,
you
I
have to
could-
get out?
Like what part
I
of the bathroom
And
is
I'm
he
not
like in the
saying
stall?
you shouldn't have touched her no matter what.
100%.
I could see if
But I just
Stephanie's
don't know.
here, if you guys have any questions for her, but I don't know how
I
that's her
would
feel.
appreciate that.
I don't know though if I want to make her
Yeah.
retell, go through
Brown
that.
hair, family earrings usually, I don't know if I can even say that.
She's very thin, African-American, about,
See on the
probably
Who I
about,
thought we were referring to,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you want to see the video?
I did not see that.
Rick, why did you decide on a year of suspension?
because it's,
Serious enough that you wanted to,
yes, and because it's violence, and I just, and I just had to skip all, you know, step, usually I'll go, you
Yeah.
got a week ban, you got a month ban. you
yeah,
got-
that's why I
but-
was like, wow.
But he
So I wondered
actually-
if there was something.
But again, what was reported to me was that he actually put his hands on a staff member, and even if it was a patron, you know, I think we have to take that seriously. Now, is there some question about whether it actually happened or not? There is.
Yeah. Was there any marks left on her? She said that he ended up hitting her in the jaw.
Yeah, and she said that was kind of inadvertent when he was pushing her, and he kind of got her with his elbow or something.
Okay.
I mean, it's clear that he probably wasn't yelling. He probably was communicating in his loud voice.
Yeah, and that's who he is. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, we know that about Mr. Bobby.
I mean, when you're deaf, that's just the way
Correct.
you
Yeah.
talk.
Alyssa
He's
is back.
clearly,
Sorry, I didn't mean to, I'm sorry, please.
no, I was saying he's clearly has some hearing impairment. I mean, when I was talking to him, he couldn't hear me, and then you spoke a little louder and like,
Maybe it's good the deep
but you
voice.
also, yeah, I was gonna say the tone of your voice is different than the tone of my voice, and maybe he can't hear my voice, and as a woman, I don't know, because he clearly couldn't hear what I was saying to him, and I was right in front of him, and I was trying to look him in the eyes, and I was speaking loudly, but he couldn't understand what I was saying at all. And I don't know if, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not necessarily defending him or anything, I
It
just,
just contributes to the situation.
yes.
And he seemed to be in a panic. I mean, that he
Oh,
was
I
not-
get it, you know,
Yeah,
and
and
it's,
he had
you can
no
tell me you don't
defense
understand,
at all.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I do understand.
Yeah.
I get
I
it.
have a husband with diabetes. It's like, you know,
Well,
situation.
I-
But it's no excuse at all, but if he kind of just lost kind of control over the situation. But he's never been in trouble with anybody else.
You know, again, he'd be a little prickly, he might be to some patrons, he might be, or to some staff, he might be an annoying customer, patron, but he's never,
Well, I was talking to
there's never been a patron reported out, he's never,
I was talking to one of them, and I don't know if they knew, and the librarian, I don't know if they knew these stuff, because they said that he speaks loudly. But, I mean, after talking to him, like I can understand why he would be.
Oh, he also has a hearing aid.
Yeah, I saw that too. Not very good
It
one,
was
by the way.
necessary, I remember, isn't it?
And I think he's pretty okay in his left ear. It depends on where you're standing also when you talk to him.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
kind of funny
and
because
he's
you were coming from that side and I was coming from straight
but
on.
he's been a daily library user as long as I can remember.
Oh, so it's been years.
Does Stephanie have an opinion on this issue?
She said she was relieved that he wasn't going to be coming back. But you know, she was a little, she said she was a little hurt that nobody called the police, and like, you can call the police, but the police would ask me what happened, and I'd have to say, well, you'd have to
They
talk
still
to
have
Stephanie.
to her.
Yeah, so,
They don't necessarily, from a legal standpoint, think that it would be able to be corroborated if it's one person for it.
and I told her that. I said, likelihood is just him and you. If he's saying it didn't happen and you're saying it did, there's probably nothing they're going
And
to do.
she's a civic center employee,
Correct.
so did she report it to her direct supervisor? Because that should have been the one, calling the police, not
Yeah, I mean,
the library.
Dalton is really not her supervisor, that'd be Vince, but she immediately called for Dalton.
Yeah.
Vince might not have been in the building. So, yeah, she did report to them. I don't know if they have real strong protocols.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen too often. Last official question, I guess, before we do like some voting and or official discussion. Alyssa found grounds to sustain the ban based upon, I guess, her investigation. Because that's what I thought I saw in the report, was that was the.
I think she just substantiated the report. Right?
Alyssa or Alexis?
Alyssa.
It says Alyssa.
Alyssa is the managing
Yes.
person, the managing
And I
librarian.
assume that she'd be.
They usually review it before I do. And, yeah, the division head usually reviews it before I do.
Who is Shelley and Ty?
Ty's a librarian, Shelley's a library assistant.
Okay, so are they ones that, like, heard all this on the radio, or like, how are they involved?
I think they're just other people who could,
I think they were there.
who could
probably.
identify.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I don't know, it was a tough call because nobody saw it, and it just depends on how much credence you want to give the reporting alleged victim, Stephanie. And, I decided to take her at her word. So,
Yeah, you have to support.
Absolutely. All right, with that being said, I guess we can move into formal discussion. Obviously, this is where we have to make a decision as to whether or not it's going to be appealed or not. So, there's no motion made. Obviously, there will be no motion. Either will be no reprieve, per se. It will stay in place. So, for a technicality standpoint, someone will have to make that motion. With that being said, discussion-wise, how do we feel about this? We've obviously been provided a certain degree of information.
I would have felt better if he would have apologized. Like, he was saying sorry, but he was saying sorry for talking loud.
Or having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
in the
it's,
first place.
Well, I mean, you can't say you're sorry for having to go to the bathroom like that. Like, if you're in a
If-
rush to go to the bathroom,
I guess
you're gonna
if
go to
you
the
rush and
bathroom.
hit someone and you say
Yes,
sorry,
yes, I agree with that, but he didn't have to say
Totally.
sorry for
I guess,
having to
but
go
I
to the
guess at this
bathroom.
point, he's saying there was no physical
Yeah,
contact.
correct.
So,
Yeah,
so,
he's not gonna apologize because he didn't say.
yeah, he did not, the next day, when I gave him the letter and I talked to him, we went in a circle about 8 times, and it always landed with me saying, I'm okay with everything you're saying until you put your hands on it. And he said, but I was in a, and he's saying now that he didn't hear me correctly, and that's possible. I'm not saying it's not.
I feel better if it was more of a misunderstanding where you rush in the bathroom, run into someone, and if that's what he says he did, I feel better than her saying he pushed her and he just denying it. Because you have to take the stance of someone who's getting, hit or says they got
He
hit.
did say here that he pushed past her. He didn't say, he said, but I didn't touch her.
Yeah, I think it's the characterization of the
Yes.
interaction itself.
Yes.
That there's difficulty with.
I know, everyone's opinion is different. It seems like a big misunderstanding to me. And because he's been here for years and years and years, and there has been no other discussion other than being a little prickly, I think it should be appealed. That's my personal opinion.
My kind of going off that is, I just think maybe the year could be reduced to less.
Would it be probationary?
I don't know what the right answer is.
Has
I
your-
do think, hey, listen, we're trusting our employees, this is what we, but we don't know.
This has already been 2 weeks.
And
So
you
that
guys,
would be my
you guys
my
can essentially
suggestion.
do anything
Yeah.
you want. So state law gives you the authority to remove somebody's ability to use the library. You can delegate that on a day-to-day basis, but you have to go, you can go, we've seen everything from appeals being completely lifted to extended.
Yeah.
I think a probationary thing would be a good idea. We are willing to put you on probation for a year. Any other incident, even just yelling at someone, which I know yelling is objective for him, but you know what I mean, using any type of language that is inappropriate
You never
can
do.
ban you.
Do we have a probationary status in our policy ordinance?
I mean, yeah, we have done this before. We've done something like that where we said, you know,
Wasn't it,
essentially you're a short leash.
wasn't there one that I was on that was a medication issue?
Oh.
They stopped taking their
Yeah.
medication?
It was a gentleman who was
I
living with
remember that.
mental illness and, you know, he came in and he'd gotten back on his meds, he was doing
Yeah.
better, and I was directed by the board at that time to, to reinstate him with the understanding that medication or no medication, next time will be a,
Ban for life.
yes, I believe,
You think that's?
And I was part of the board, if I recall, in that situation.
Yeah,
That
I
was,
think
like I said,
so.
the last time we voted upon this, we did vote to overturn
Yeah, we
this.
did offer.
The only thing I will say when it comes to not having it being a full year duration, that was the 31st, so that was 2 weeks as of this Monday. So when it comes to talking about lessening that period of time, do give consideration he's not been on library property for over 2 weeks now. And being a daily user for years, I think that a 2-week ban
And
is
he
considered.
has honored that, right? I mean,
he has, and he didn't give me, I mean, we had the day that I gave him the news was the next day. He was very impassioned, but he wasn't inappropriate. And we went around in circles for a while, but when I said, he's like, do you want me to leave? I said, yes, he complied.
I mean, what about something like 2 more weeks, a
Make
month?
it a month.
That's
Make
what I
it
was
a month of
thinking, a
April.
month.
A
Make it
month ban
of
plus
April,
a one entire year probation.
Yeah. Or the understanding of a probation, where if
If
something.
an incident like this is reported again.
Yeah, any incident.
Yeah.
To Blake's point, that would be a week and a half roughly of time he could not be in your past today.
Just, I
yeah.
feel like
Do
you at least have to do
comfortable with that,
something.
Rick, or do you think?
I've been torn on this the whole time, because I didn't witness it. I don't, it's not like I know Mr. Bobby well, but at the time I knew him better than Stephanie. I've since had several conversations with Stephanie.
There's 3 sides to every story.
Yeah.
Yours, mine, and the truth.
So, and I,
Probably somewhere in the middle.
when you don't have it on, the tape, and it's just, and there's no witnesses, it's tough. But I thought the violation was serious enough. I would rather say, okay, here's what and I told him, you can appeal this, and here's when, but I think we have to stick with this decision because it's serious enough, and you can come talk to the board, and that way we've had a discussion among many people, and they can make a measured response,
I would say the fact that he was willing to come and talk to the board also is a
That
favor.
matters to him.
Well, and I think he realizes it was a possible year's suspension, that the seriousness of the situation might make a difference, and that he's actually, getting a break at this time, so,
Well, I also told him that he could have been charged with assault.
yeah.
So
Well,
I said,
I-
That was the case.
library suspension really is a pretty easy way to get off.
And for me, I feel like if she wanted the police called, she should have said that right
And
then
I
and
told
there.
her that.
She
I
should have
think,
said, can we call the police?
but, you know, again,
Right, no one
new on the job.
denied her
Yeah.
No.
the option, but,
But I also think, new on the job, you're not,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
she could have been in shock, and sometimes you're just not thinking,
But she also
Through the
said that
situation.
she didn't want to call the police either.
Well,
Like, after.
Yeah, when I talked to her, it was about a week later, and I talked to her, and she said she was, where we left it, she said, I think I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna write, this has been weighing on my mind, I'm gonna go call the police right now. Then I found the next day she changed her mind and did not do that, so. And I told her, no, that it is gonna be, he is now saying he did not touch you, so it will be your word against his, because nobody else was in that bathroom.
And what did she say to that?
She said she was gonna call police, but she decided against it. She ended up deciding.
Okay, so do we
Yeah,
give a motion?
corral us back to this, I think obviously it's been agreed upon that some form of probationary status going forward is, everyone's been agreeable with that. The question that is up in the air is whether or not we're
So
going
we
to,
want to
for
suspend it
instance,
for the entire
continue
month.
the ban for the rest of the month, or as at least one has spoken to, forgiving it as of today.
I would motion to continue the ban for the rest of April with a probationary for the rest of the year. We're understanding that any other incident could,
Like any incident.
could invoke another ban, longer term ban.
I want to, if there can be a little bit of discussion on that, I hear what you're saying about any other incident. I don't want to invite staff to, next time he's
Do we
prickly
need to
to write.
say what the
I think
incident
it might be better if we say what type of incident.
Physical.
That makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Or
Something-
aggressive?
Because we really, I mean, the
Technical
hardest,
aggressive behavior?
but see that, I feel like that's
That can be
difficult, because even when he was talking right there,
You
his
said it was
manner,
aggressive.
when he spoke, the language could be interpreted as being aggressive.
Yeah.
And if
Especially
you've already
if you
been
don't
saying
know
that
he's
he's a
deaf.
prickly pear,
Yeah.
then
yeah.
let's just go with
Same.
physical.
Again, he's prickly, but he doesn't curse people out or whatever, but
Right.
Plus, I would assume that if he is really deaf, he probably has a formal disability in that sense there too. So when one talks about
Yeah.
legal issues,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I do want to say though, beyond physical, there are things that I personally would be like, no, he should be banned,
like some verbal aggression.
inappropriate comments and or cursing at someone, like aggressive verbal.
We can just not do a probationary and just say the ban's the rest of the month, but any other incident, I mean, any future thing, you're gonna come to us
Yeah.
anyway, or you're gonna
Yes.
handle it yourself.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think-
subject to.
So it's,
Subject to
It's all-
evaluation.
yeah,
But I-
subject to,
Plus he knows now that
Yeah.
he'll definitely feel, and you guys will hear his stuff.
yeah.
but I also want to show that we support Stephanie too. So I don't want
I'm
her
sitting
to
here
think,
thinking about my conversation with Stephanie.
I don't want her to
Yeah.
think that we're not taking this serious enough.
So
because
we
it
can
makes
say,
it
probationary for a year. Any physical incident will lead to immediate ban.
permanent ban.
Is it feasible to also ask that he not go near Stephanie specifically?
Okay, but yeah,
But she's
I
in
think
the
She's-
bathroom.
I think
Well,
talking
Right, but I
to
mean,
him
like-
and asking for him to talk to whoever's in the bathroom from out, he talks loud enough. Hey, I need to use the restroom, can you please come out from outside the restroom? The fact that he walked in, he walked all the way around that cart and went in.
I think he said he really had to go.
Yes, but he could have
Listen,
poked his head
listen,
in and
girl,
said, I need to go to the
As you
restroom.
get older,
Look, I'm like
Listen.
3 babies in.
I
Well, and
know
also
how that is.
before this
Happened
particular
anytime.
incident, he said it's happened before, but they usually just,
Get out.
just step outside for a few minutes and it's
I'm just
never
trying
been
to
to, no one's ever tried to
mitigate
stop.
something
He
happening
was right that
behind
it was a
closed
training
doors.
issue, and I talked to Vince. I mean, he was right when that day, he said, that's
Yeah.
she just needs to be retrained.
I
And said,
agree.
I don't disagree with that, sir, but don't push her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
Last clarifying question on that tidbit there, does the sign, is there a sign on the door that says it's closed temporarily? formally? Because obviously I'm speaking as a man when another man, custodial person is in the, it's not formally closed.
They put one of those little standing signs in front of it.
Okay, so, gotcha. With that being said, obviously we can have more discussion in a discussion format when we get this, but there.
So
Did
the
you make-
other,
did you make that motion?
so the closest restroom besides that, I mean, honestly, the closest restroom, where's the closest restroom? It goes
Upstairs.
over-
That's
So
available
the
is
kids-
upstairs, yeah.
That's kind of hard.
That's why I said trying to mitigate any interactions behind closed doors where there's not cameras. Speaking to the person that's inside, I need to use the restroom, I'm coming in,
I'm gonna
and
talk,
that gives them warning.
I'm gonna talk to Vince about having a woman clean the men's room, public men's room during business hours.
Might not be the best
It's
place.
not a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, like, or during any event, that's also happened, like, there's an event in the back, and they're just like, oh, I'm gonna go.
When we owned and operated this building,
It was the same time.
we cleaned the bathrooms after we closed, unless there was an emergency. You might poke your head in and do a little spot cleaning if you needed to, but we didn't close the restrooms down in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m.
Issues
too.
on both ends.
Mhm.
Yeah. With that being said, was that a formal motion or was that hypothetical?
We'll do hypotheticals so someone else can make the motion.
So what is the motion,
Are
are we
we doing
saying?
probationary or no? Because we kind of said no and then yes.
I think, okay, I'll make a motion, here we go. I'll make a motion to extend his ban till the end of the month with a probationary period equaling 1 year total, where if he has a physical altercation, he will be banned from the library, and any altercation outside of a physical ban will be brought to the board for review.
I like that.
Great, that's good, that's good.
Blake will second that.
First and second, any discussion? Anyone like to say add that? Seemingly not. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Such a hard, a late night.
Yeah.
I think that's,
Yeah.
I think.
That
I
happens.
make a
You guys
motion
should
to-
like-
People never know what
Sure.
really happened, so it's never gonna feel great.
I get 6 or 7 of these a month and,
Yeah.
and they're rarely easy, but this is one of the more difficult ones.
Motion to adjourn.
I
Is there a second?
think it's
And that, that's how.
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn at 6 o'clock.